The thread of this season for me was always the abuse of the youth that have no access to history and independent thought. And Thomas was an embodiment of that. Someone would walk to his death rather than shame them.
We're setting a whole kind of new world for season 3 here. We don't know what's become of many of our characters since the end of 2. Several months have elapsed, and what we discover is that Juliana Crane is now living in hiding somewhere outside of Denver with Caroline and Hawthorne Abinson, the man in the high castle. And I think that the emotional center of the episode is your relationship with Trudy. We, as writers, I think, struggled with how to dramatize that. This is a sister that has different memories and different experiences than you.
Remember when you were 6 and you got the measles? My Trudy did.
There's a fluidity to their connection and to the way that they communicate and their rapport, and their mannerisms are the same, and there's an incredible familiarity for both of them. So in some way, it sort of tricks the mind and taps into the heart that is very much, longing for that person. And I think at the end of season 2, when Abinson puts Trudy in front of her like that, I think that was the only way to allow her to take this journey at all. It's a lovely way to start, certainly, especially because the arc of the season sort of takes us on this insane roller coaster. And so it was a deep breath that none of us had, I think, at that point.
Jubilation follows as America celebrates victory in Europe.
Word got around that Hawthorne was some sort of prophet of the resistance, which he wasn't.
No.
Not at first.
It's because the real films started coming to our door.
We get a sort of origin story of the man in the high castle because he explains to you and he shows to you on the moviola the original sort of film that he made. It doesn't come from an alternate reality, it comes from his own handiwork. He had this idea that he was going to make a film that made it look as though the Allies had won the war, but he only had footage that existed in a world where the Allies lost the war to cobble together. When it came time for Dan to put that together, you
it was great fun.
Not to cheat.
Yes, because in our alternative history, we never had, the Americans never got involved in the European campaign. They fought in Japan. But we had to make a make-believe film where they had. So we found training footage of beach landings that we then doubled for that. We used images from North Africa and the British campaign there. So, Hawthorne built his fantasy around what he hoped would happen.
That's me, that little girl. When were you going to tell me that?
Are you sure that's you?
Yes, I was 7 years old. It was February of 1942.
This proves it.
Proves what?
So we start to paint the portrait that their fates were so interconnected. So even he's surprised to find another layer in his film, and it freaks him out. So he's constantly having his own ignorance revealed to him about the complexity of the multiverse.
The big set piece of the episode, I guess, is the renaming ceremony. My original version of it was quite elaborate, but Dan, you helped me hone it basically into a 3-act mini movie, essentially.
It's the simplicity of the emotional narrative we're telling. With the core to it was really Helen and John's reaction to the death of their son. Ultimately, all we really want to be looking at is how these two people are forced to put a proud face on the most tragic event in their life.
When we were shooting in season 1, we were in Berlin, which was really interesting and exciting. And one of the things that Richard Hughes and I did for fun is we went to the Stasi prison in East Berlin. So when we came back and we came to our opportunity to try to sort of show that in some way, we sort of took the best pieces that we could make in terms of the small cell areas, but also in just the way in which things are set up. A decision was made that we should give the Smith family a lifestyle promotion, which was great. It was this kind of great challenge of having glass all the way around and having spear-inspired version of mid-century modernism that would make sense in our story. We went through and we created a special type of door that was something you would see in Berlin and not anywhere in Manhattan.
It's safer if we split up.
What about you?
We'll be all right. Now you all just get a room at Danny's and lay low until things cool off.
There's nowhere in this show, and nor should there ever be anywhere in the show, where you can really relax properly. And so we're always looking to turn up the darkness knob somehow on it all. Yeah.